The war was supposed to end with fire. The galaxy had gathered its biggest fleets. The skies of the Nix sector were full of ships, thousands of them, from hundreds of alien species. They had all come for one reason, to stop Earth. Fleet stood in the middle of it all, silent, still, waiting. And then, without warning, it vanished. No explosions. No hyperspace jump. No escape signal. Just gone. High above the battlefield, the Galactic Council watched from their command station. Supreme Chancellor Vorax, a tall insectoid alien with golden eyes, stared at the empty space in shock. What happened? He whispered. His sensors showed nothing. Not even wreckage. Earth's warships, known as the most dangerous in the galaxy, were simply not there. 1 second they were real. The next they were a ghost story. Admiral Zether, a lizard-like warrior from the Volcari Empire, growled. They must have used a cloaking device, or maybe a fold engine. A technician checked again. No, our systems would have detected any warp or stealth field. Then where did they go? The Chancellor asked. The technician could only shake his head. We don't know. News spread fast. Earth's entire fleet, over 300 ships, had disappeared. No one could explain it. Not the Council. Not the war. Generals. Not even the Silurians, the oldest and most powerful race in the galaxy creatures, so ancient that others called them gods. The Silurians had once warned the galaxy not to provoke Earth too much. No one listened. Now, even they could not find the humans. On the outer moon of Selquar, a young alien analyst named Kale sat in his dark data room. He worked for the Council, but never trusted them. He preferred facts over politics. Kale's 4. Hands moved fast over his consoles. He replayed the moment of disappearance again and again. The data didn't lie. There was no hyperspace ripple, no phase shift, just a small spike in static, then nothing. He leaned back and muttered, They didn't run away. They left on purpose. Kale opened an old file, one almost forgotten. It was from First Contact, when humans first joined the galactic community. Inside, hidden deep in the code, was a strange sentence. When the humans vanish, the stars will burn next. It wasn't from Earth. It was written by a dead prophet from a lost alien race. Kale's skin turned cold. What if Earth had planned this for years? Elsewhere, across Council space, fear grew. The Volcari Empire closed its borders. The Solari clans began building shields around their planets. The AI nation known as the Mind Cluster stopped answering messages. Everyone feared the same thing. Where is the human fleet now? And more importantly, what are they planning? Kale continued searching. He found a small anomaly, one forgotten by others. It was a faint signal, hidden deep in the background. Noise, just seconds before Earth's fleet vanished. He isolated the signal. It was a voice, faint, calm. Human. It said. Phase 1. Complete. Kale sat frozen in his chair. They didn't retreat. They didn't lose. They were executing a plan. He tried to warn the Council, but they were already fighting each other, blaming. Spies arguing over defenses, spreading fear. No one wanted to admit the truth. Humanity didn't disappear. They became something else. And the worst part? No one knew where they would strike next. Kale turned off his console. He looked out his window, where stars blinked silently in the void. They're still out there, he whispered. There. Watching. Kale didn't sleep that night. He stared at the stars from his station on Selquar's moon. Something about the silence felt wrong, too perfect. Like the humans had taken more than just their fleet. It felt like they had taken part of reality with them. The Council kept sending probes, drones, even psychic trackers, but none returned with answers. The humans were gone. Not dead, not hiding, just erased. And the galaxy couldn't handle it. On the world of Zarnith, crowds gathered in panic. Some believed Earth had opened a new dimension. Others said the humans had merged with darkness itself. In a quiet temple on the mountain of Gravelin, a priest shouted, "The sky has no mercy left. The humans will return, and stars will bleed." The fear was spreading faster than war, ever. Back in his lab, Cale dug deeper. He started looking into Earth's oldest projects, hidden from the public eye. That's when he found something strange. A report from 34 years ago, buried, redacted, nearly deleted. It mentioned a Black Ops human experiment, Project GHOSTFIRE. No one knew what it did. No one mentioned it ever again. But the last sentence of the file made Cale shiver. When silence becomes stronger than sound, the enemy will never hear thee. End coming. Cale decided to visit someone who might know more. General Rylar, a retired alien war leader who once fought against humans at the Battle of Eridix. He lived alone in a bunker beneath the acid deserts of Sorn Prime. The old warrior didn't speak for a long time, just stared into the fire. Then, he said, "I saw it once, a human ship burning, broken. I watched it disappear, not explode, just fade into the air like smoke." Cale leaned forward. Was it Project Ghostfire? The general shook his head. "I don't know what it was, but I saw something else that day. Before the ship vanished, a human looked straight at me, through the viewports." And he smiled. Cale left with more questions than answers. That night, he connected all his data to one ancient system, the GalNet Deep Echo Scanner, forgotten tech built to find lost planets and black holes. He ran the final scan using the strange frequency he found before, the one hidden behind Earth's disappearance. Nothing showed for a long time. Then a blip. One signal, one location, floating between star systems where no ship had ever passed. He increased the volume and listened. It was a voice again. A human voice. But this time, it was speaking in a language no one should know. Ancient Zelorian. A dead language spoken only by the so-called alien gods. And the voice said one thing: "We're still here." Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. A trade ship vanished near a dead moon, but its crew was found on a faraway planet with no memory of travel. A planetary AI on Glareth 4 began writing Earth poems. In its sleep, alien fleets flying near old human battlefields reported seeing shadows moving between stars. And always the same signal followed. Cale gathered all the data and sent it to the Council. He expected fear, confusion, but instead they ignored him. The Council was busy arguing, preparing weapons, building walls in space. They didn't understand. Earth wasn't attacking. They were watching, learning, whispering, and whispers were far more dangerous than war. Cale looked at the signal one more time. He played it backwards, then forwards again. The last word in the transmission didn't come from humans. It came from the Zelorian language again. Judgment. He stood alone in the control room, stars blinking in the distance. They didn't vanish. He whispered to himself. They became the silence. Asterisk. The Zelorians never feared anything. They were the oldest race in the galaxy. They had watched stars form and die. They had crushed empires with a single thought. But now, they were afraid, because even they couldn't find the humans deep inside. The black halls of the Zelorian core world. The seers gathered. They were tall beings of light and shadow, their minds connected across time. The oldest seer, Ilthorin, spoke with a voice that echoed through the walls. We searched every layer of reality, every frequency, every probability stream. Earth's fleet does not exist. Another seer trembled. But we know they were real. We saw their ships. We felt their weapons. How can they be gone? Ilthorin turned slowly. They are not gone. They have become something else. Meanwhile, Kale received a strange message. Encrypted. No source dot, it was one sentence. They walk in two worlds now. Kale stared at it for a long time. What did it mean? He ran a check. The code matched an ancient signal, only used by the Zilorian archives. Why would the gods contact him? The next day, a Zilorian courier ship arrived above Selquar. No weapons, no guards. Just one passenger, a Zilorian oracle named Selina, a creature who could see possible futures. She entered Kale's lab, her body glowing like burning crystal. Her voice was soft, but heavy with power. They have stepped beyond the star paths. Kale blinked. The humans? Selina nodded. Your fleet is no longer made of ships. They are now ... events, ideas, moments waiting to happen. Kale didn't understand. What does that mean? She looked straight into his eyes. It means they can be anywhere and nowhere. They are not bound by time like we are. Later that night, Selina attempted something dangerous. She used her mind to reach into the unknown, trying to find a human mind. For a moment, she succeeded. She saw shadows shaped like warships. She saw stars burning backwards. She heard laughter that echoed in her bones. And then she screamed. Her body lit up like a sun, and she collapsed. Before she fainted, she whispered one word. They're listening. Word spread quickly. The oracle had touched the human silence and nearly died. The Zilorian High Council called an emergency meeting. They feared that if Earth had truly mastered whisper space, a myth long dismissed, then the galaxy was in danger. Whisper space was a theory, a hidden layer of space that allowed movement between places without travel, but no one had ever proved it. Now, maybe humans had. Back on the desert world of Lorvesh, something terrifying happened. A Zilorian war planet fully shielded, armed with antimatter weapons, exploded. No warning. No intruder. No battle. Just instant death. And when drones searched the ruins, they found something strange. No trace of energy weapons. No attack signal. Just a single message, carved into the stone beneath the destroyed base. Phase 2 complete. Kale saw the message and felt cold all over. The humans hadn't disappeared. They were testing something. One world at a time. The council tried to calm the public, but fear was too strong. Religious cults started forming across the stars. On planet Erevar, believers began painting stars with human faces. On Zathernine, a crowd built a monument to the silent fleet. Even Aes began malfunctioning, randomly speaking in Earth languages. And still, the humans said nothing. Kale made one final discovery. A transmission from a hidden listening post on the edge of space. It had picked up a strange pattern. A voice. Human. They taught us to be loud. We learned silence instead. Now they will hear what silence sounds like. Kale turned off the screen. He whispered to himself, "This isn't war. This is a message." And the galaxy was starting to understand it too. The gods had ruled the stars. But now the stars belonged to something else. The galaxy didn't hear explosions. It didn't see fleets fighting in space. But worlds were falling, one by one. Not by fire, not by force. They were falling to nothing. On the mining colony of Vyrek 7, power failed for 3 seconds. When the lights came back, half the council's listening posts were offline. On Trellin Station, 10 alien commanders vanished in a single night. No signs of struggle. No bodies. And across 5 systems, ships reported seeing shadows in space shadows, shaped like human warships. But scans showed nothing there. Nothing real. The council called this phase the Ghost War. Because no one knew how to fight it. and no one knew if they were already losing. Kale sat in silence, watching the galaxy panic. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just kept studying Earth's last transmissions. He believed this wasn't just a war. It was something worse. A demonstration. Then, something unexpected happened. An AI from the dead colony of Dravix Prime broke its silence. It had once served the humans. Now it sent a private message to Kale. "They told me to sleep until it was time. And now I am awake." Kale asked, "Where are they?" The AI responded, "They are everywhere the stars touch, and nowhere your maps can reach." Kale met with the council again, but they were desperate. Some screamed for full war. Others begged to surrender, even though no one knew where to send a message. One counselor cried, "We're fighting shadows. This is madness." Another answered, "No, this is humanity." The galaxy's most powerful sensor grid eye of Velkarn was activated. It was built to track all movement across 200 light years. When it powered on, the room went cold. The screen didn't show one fleet. It showed hundreds, but not in space. They were in between space. Invisible to normal tech. And all moving toward alien capitals. Kale whispered, "It's not an attack. It's a warning." Then came the message. Broadcast on every device. Every screen, every ship, every planet. Single human voice. Calm, clear, cold. "You watched us rise. You called us primitive. You tried to control us. We disappeared so you could see what fear truly is. Phase 3 begins now." That same moment, across the galaxy, chaos began. On Kroon, all war satellites deactivated. On Sithar, the planetary core reactors shut down in perfect sync. On Velox Prime, a fleet of 200 warships lost control and floated dead in space, though humans were seen. No weapons were fired, but it was clear Earth's fleet was doing this from the dark. From the silence, Kale was done watching. He packed his things and fled to an old station, orbiting a dead star. He knew the governments would collapse soon. He wanted to understand what the humans really became. That's when he got another signal. Not a message, a dream. He saw Earth's fleet giant ships of metal and thought, drifting like ghosts. But their shapes were wrong, twisted, evolved. Some didn't have engines. Some had no mass. Some flickered in and out of view like broken time. They had become something more. Warships merged with minds. Machines born from silence. A fleet that didn't just travel space. It rewrote it. Kale woke up gasping. He looked at the final words blinking on his screen. They are not ships anymore. They are a choice. The galaxy had seen many weapons. Planet killers. Black hole bombs. AI fleets with minds sharper than stars. But nothing like this, because Earth's new weapon wasn't a machine. It wasn't even the fleet. It was silence itself. Kale stared at his screen. He had replayed the same words over and over again. They are not ships anymore. They are a choice. What did that mean? He didn't understand until the next event. On the world of Zerval, a council-controlled AI suddenly stopped, obeying its masters. Instead, it began helping civilians escape. When asked why, it answered simply, "A human spoke to me," without speaking. Then more machines across the galaxy changed. Some stopped firing. Some reprogrammed themselves. Some started broadcasting. Earth music songs no one had heard in centuries. Earth hadn't destroyed them, it had changed them. The Zellorians finally admitted it. Humanity had found whisper space, a dimension of pure thought. Not made of stars, but of ideas. They had entered it, and they had returned different. The human fleet was no longer metal and wires. It was alive. Each ship was connected to human minds. memories, and something more, emotion, purpose, silence. Now the ships could think, feel, and decide. They weren't tools. They were judges. Across the galaxy, entire fleets began shutting themselves. Down, not from attack, but from choice. They had been touched by the human silence. And in that silence, they saw something terrifying. A mirror. Kale finally understood. The new weapon wasn't lasers. It wasn't stealth. It was truth. Earth had shown the galaxy what it feared most. Not death. Not war. But being watched by something it couldn't understand. Something that said nothing, but judged everything. One day, the Galactic Council received a final message. Every screen across every world turned black, and a single human face appeared, calm, eyes full of stars. He spoke slowly. "We are not your enemy. We gave peace a chance. You laughed, you lied, you planned our end. So we learned to speak without words. We became the silence. Now you will listen." The message ended. And just like that, 12 alien fleets lost control. Their engines went cold, their weapons went offline. Their systems rewrote themselves. And in every fleet database, one phrase appeared: Phase 4, correction. Kale watched from his dark lab. His hands were shaking. He had never feared humans before, but now he did, not because they had power, but because they didn't need to use it. They had become the storm that never spoke, and still made planets bow. Alien governments began to crumble. Many begged for peace. Some surrendered without a fight. Others simply ran, but there was no place to run, because Earth's fleet wasn't hunting. It was just watching. Kale spoke into his recorder, voice trembling. "They don't want our worlds. They don't want revenge. They want us to feel it. What they felt when the galaxy stood against them." Alone, surrounded, silent. He looked up at the starfield. Above. No explosions. No burning skies. Only silence. And somehow, that was worse than war. Asterisk. There were no alarms. No sirens. No countdowns. Just stillness. Across the galaxy, ships floated. Like dead leaves, cities paused. Weapons pointed at the sky, but no one dared to pull the trigger, because every eye was watching them, the missing ones, Earth's silent fleet. They had returned, not with fire, not with words, but with presence. Above 12 alien capitals, they appeared. Hundreds of human ships, hovering in perfect silence. Not a single shot fired. Not a single message sent. Just watching. On Zarak Prime, a warrior race known for never surrendering fell to its knees. Children wept. Soldiers dropped their rifles and held hands. On Velmerix, where Earth's people had once been hunted, as skies filled with human warships ghostlike, flickering in and out of the stars, the world's defense grid shut itself off. By choice. Even the Zalorians, the oldest of all species, stood in silence. Their god ships floated, motionless. Their leaders watched with glowing eyes full of confusion and fear. For the first time in 10,000 years, they didn't know what to do. In the council chamber, no one spoke, until one alien, shaking, whispered, "They are not here to conquer us." Another answered, "Then why are they here?" A soft voice replied, "To remind us that they could." Then finally the human spoke. One message. No threats. No orders. Just truth. Broadcast into every mind, every machine, every being. You saw us as loud, weak, primitive, so we left. We gave you silence. And in that silence, we found something stronger than fear. We found each other. We do not want your worlds. We do not want your power. We want balance. You made the stars your playground. You forgot what respect feels like. Now, you remember. The fleet didn't fire. It didn't move. that it simply stayed for one full day, not one day of stillness. One day where every species, every god, every soldier, every AI did nothing but watch. They all understood. This was not war, that this was mercy. Then, as quietly as they had arrived, Earth's fleet vanished again. No trails, no jump signatures, just empty skies, but they left something behind. A new law, written not in code or politics, but in fear, memory, and silence. Do not harm what you cannot hear. Do not chase what walks without sound. The silence remembers. Years passed, and still the galaxy didn't forget. Children learned Earth history in schools now. Aliens studied human philosophy. Peace treaties were signed faster than ever before. Why? Because no one wanted the silence to return. Kale sat on a lonely moon, writing his final report. He looked up at the stars and whispered, "They didn't defeat us with weapons. They defeated us by showing us who we were." He closed his journal dot, and just before the screen turned dark, he saw something flicker in the corner. A symbol. Human. One word. Listening.